Only Dak Prescott has thrown for more yards than Phillip Rivers this year. So he is moving the ball up and down the field. The turnovers are a problem. He only has one more touchdown, 15th in interceptions. And right now his QBR, despite being second in passing yards, is 46. To put that in some perspective, that would put him right around the middle of the pack or below it. He's 23rd in QBR, which is the ESPN metric based on how a quarterback plays in relation to helping his team win from 0 to 100. So he's below average right now in terms of how that metric deems his play. His passer rating is also about the same number, I think, which is the official NFL mark. It's in the 70s, actually.
And last year, he's coming off a good year, though. 68% completion, 32 touchdowns. His rating was 105.
Yeah, he's 22 in passer rating.
So, I mean, it's just kind of – and the couple of years before that, it was in the high 90s. So –
I think, Matt, when we were talking to Tim Hasselbeck yesterday, his words kind of echo in my mind how we tend to make these judgments on one game. And I get it. Maybe this isn't a total one-game sample size. Leading the league in interceptions being second in interceptions is a hard thing to reconcile. But as you mentioned, last year was a great year for him. There has been plenty of very good in this season for Phillip Rivers. I don't think he's done, but your point, he's going to be a free agent. It's going to have to be at a price that's comfortable with the team, and that's the conversation that two people that know each other very well, meaning the Chargers and Phillip Rivers, are going to have.
Right. All of this is Straight Talk we're bringing you here, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, because, look, clearly Phillip has roots where he is, and they are deep, deep roots. The question then becomes, if you want to have him continue, I think you have to sign it to some sort of team-friendly deal, knowing that, look, man, we love everything that you've done for us, and we appreciate it, but we need to start thinking beyond you.
I mean, think about the other guys in that draft, right? Eli's a backup right now. Ben had signed that deal. Ben's cap hit next year is $33 million. In 2021, it's $31 million. I mean, you giving Rivers that kind of money?
I don't think so.
That's what when Ben signed that extension. So, I mean, that's where he is right now. Now, as far as the signing bonus, roster bonus, all that the base salary is low, but the cap hit because of all the money they gave him in the signing bonus and stuff. I mean, is that because I agree, it's got to be team friendly. So, where are you going with that? Because we all think Ben, Phillip, and Eli all eventually are going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Now, Ben and Eli have Super Bowl rings to go with it. A lot's going to be, I guess, what Rivers is going to be comfortable with taking as well.
It's going to be what Phil's comfortable with, and then it's going to be what Tom Telesco and them put together as a plan, the Chargers GM, because you've got to have one. This is also a larger scale issue for the Chargers, because remember we just heard a very defiant Dean Spanos come out and say, we're not moving, we're playing in Los Angeles, this is our home, bleep this, bleep that, like,
Bleepity bleepy McBleep.
You're trying to be the second team in Los Angeles. Phillip Rivers is the brand right now for the Chargers.
Correct.
He is the name association with that team. And so unless you're going to go out and bring in a free agent and try and maybe make a splash and lure like Teddy Bridgewater away from the Saints or something like that, you're looking at a situation where you've got to have a bridge program that's pretty solid to get you not only to your football future, but to that future you claim to want so bad in Los Angeles in that new stadium.
And his cap hit isn't awful for a quarterback.
No.
His cap hit is $23 million this year. Last year it was $22. Before that it was $18. So he hasn't been that big detrimental cap hit. So it will be interesting to see what they want to work out. Certainly it would be a shorter-term deal. There's no doubt about that. And then what do you do? Do you go about it in the draft? Do you go about it in free agency? But no doubt that's a question that they have.
Yeah, listen, we're seeing, obviously, with what Drew Brees is still doing in New Orleans and what Tom Brady, although somewhat to a lesser extent, what we're seeing out of Tom. Now, players are playing much longer and later in their careers and still being successful, maybe not as spectacular,
right,
but successful and sustainable. I mean, you could make the argument that, I think we could possibly see 2 more years out of Phillip Rivers going forward.
Right.
I mean, that's not – 5 years ago, that would have been, that's crazy.
And it's not like they have, it's, the record isn't good now, but you have bookend rushers.
Yes.
You have 2 good backs in Melvin Gordon. Now, if he ends up staying there or not, we'll see. And Austin Eckler. So there's certainly some talent on that team.
Derwin James
You like
secondary.
Hunter Henry if he stops being injured as much as he had been. So there are certainly some pieces there.
I mean, there have always been, in my mind, there have always been pieces with the Chargers. Every year, they are the team, and it's weird because they're the other team in Los Angeles, which is the funny way to look at this. The Chargers, to me, and the Chris Paul era Clippers are the same team.
Yeah.
Like, it's a team every year that went in with unbelievably high expectations that we said, based on roster construction, looks like it should be competing every year. And every year, usually because of a rash of freakish injuries, find a way for them to not be the case. And that, to me, has been, unfortunately, the Phillip Rivers era Chargers story.
Yep.
We're so glad you're watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, make sure you subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.